Sam Kennedy, the president of the Boston Red Sox, recently just had a press conference where he discussed a lot, including the obligations he feels he has to fulfill in order to be considered successful. And he also got a little emotional in the middle of this. So let's get to it and break it all down right now on this episode of Red Sox Digest. The massive changes coming to Boston. And again, that is a question in a way. After listening to Sam Kennedy go on his very, very passionate talk and really not a rant, but really just his soliloquy, if you will, he felt very, very emotional. He felt very, very entitled to really get his piece across and just make sure everyone understands that there is an obligation when you are the president of a baseball team, as well as just around the ownership group and management of a professional baseball team, let alone a professional or sports organization. Now, it seems like he's not taking this very lightly, as he seems to be a bit under fire under his own will, if you will, in the sense that he has a level of responsibility set by himself that he feels like he has to accomplish in order to be considered successful in Boston. And honestly, he's not wrong. Boston Red Sox fans are very passionate, just like any Boston organization, whether regardless of what sport it is. They're very, very passionate. There's no other way around it, and they love to win. They're used to winning, as the culture and the winning heritage in Boston has really been a consistent factor, if you will. Now, shout out to NBC Sports Boston as they went on the quote Sam Kennedy, and we do have a 30-second clip that we will play in just a minute. But again, he goes on to say, and I quote, "It's time to get back where we belong. I can tell you this ownership group feels urgency and hunger to improve this team." So that is why I labeled it out with this idea of, are there major changes coming to Boston? Obviously, we just discussed Kenley Jansen and his probable departure out of Boston, as his nameplate and himself were left very early before the season even ended with an apparent shoulder injury. But again, not sure how accurate that shoulder injury really is, or really just how severe it really is. But again, Sam Kennedy and Craig Breslow on Red Sox offseason plans. So I can't wait to see what this offseason looks like for the Boston Red Sox. Obviously, here's the depth chart. There's no real good way to look at a Boston Red Sox or really MLB baseball team's depth chart in a clean and neat fashion. Obviously, this is ESPN's version of it, and it does give you all the names with all the positions, but again, not the cleanest way. But again, just bear with me. A lot of these names will probably be here next year, but again, there will be names obviously that won't be here next year. I would say Kenley obviously not going to be there next year. I feel like there's a chance Liam Hendriks is not here next year. And again, there are going to be a handful of other players that get moved and we bring in new pieces, and I can't wait to see how that plays out, because in my opinion, Sam Kennedy and Breslow are not going to do anything that is going to give us or give the Boston Red Sox a chance of being any worse than they were this year. Now, we know we weren't horrible this year. There's no way you can say that we were the worst team in baseball or even close to it. But again, third place in the AL East is not going to get it done. And I understand we are battling in one of the tougher divisions in all of baseball, in the sense that we do have the New York Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles both in this division, as well as the Rays and the Jays, but obviously they have not been doing too well this season. But again, that leaves the Boston Red Sox right in the middle of the pack, in between two very elite teams and two very subpar teams, and that's not really where you want to be. Obviously, after watching this season, we know if you are in this position where you're 81 and 81 and your runs allowed and your runs scored are very, very close. Thankfully, we did end up edging out the runs allowed by 4 runs scored, so that is a good thing. We're not in the negative there, but again, we need to be closer to the Yankees numbers, where they score 815 runs to the 668 runs they gave up. We need to be able to score the baseball, or score runs just at a higher level, and be able to win more baseball games, because again, going 81 and 81 is just not going to get the job done. Going negative at home is not going to get it done, especially when you are the Boston Red Sox. Going 38 and 43 at home in Fenway just seems flat out criminal, and again, that cannot happen. I can't wait to see what happens to the pitching rotation and as well as the bullpen for this Boston Red Sox team. I think there's a lot of decent pieces here. I don't think there's a lot of great pieces on this rotation, as well as this coming out of the bullpen. So I can't wait to see that change. I think that it will be the biggest change for this Boston Red Sox team, due to just needing new live arms, needing some new spark in the bullpen as well as in that starting rotation. But again, here are the wild card standings. Not so good for the Boston Red Sox. Obviously, the Orioles being in second place in the AL East and having a 91-71 record are going to give them the number one spot in the wild card. But then you have teams like the Royals, the Tigers, the Mariners, and the Twins, who are all very, very good at baseball. Obviously, the Detroit Tigers are probably the hottest team to play baseball in the last 15 years, as it's been amazing to watch them play baseball over the last 35 to 45 games. I'm pretty sure they won 30 of the 41 games they had remaining on their schedule to sneak into the playoffs, as well as obviously the Royals playing well all year, the Mariners being very streaky along the same lines as the Red Sox, about the same lines as the Twins. So if you want to make the playoffs in the MLB, especially in the American League, you are going to have to be at the top of the crop. There's no other way around it. And for the Red Sox, with this current roster, with this current pitching, there's just not a way we're going to get that done. Obviously, the catching position is also not one of our hot spots with Connor Wong and Danny Jansen. I will say Jansen was a good pickup, but again, he just was not a needle pusher in any way, and it did not push us over the top. And again, we're going to need some help here to really get the job done. I will say the young pieces will most likely be the artillery, and just the cavalry, I should say. They are going to be the people we need to be able to lean on here getting towards the middle and the end of the season next year, and hopefully they are able to find their stride. And again, for the Boston Red Sox, we haven't been to the playoffs in 3 years, and the last time we were there, it was 4 years ago in 2021, and we lost in the ALCS 4-2 to the Houston Rockets. That was when Eddie Rosario was the MVP of that series, because, once again, the barrel of his bat was like one of the wiffle ball bats. The barrel was this big, and there was nothing we could do, as well as anyone else in the playoffs. And then obviously we missed the playoffs the 2 years prior to that, and then that was following our 2018 World Series run, where Mookie Betts, one of the greatest Red Sox players to ever live. Yes, I did just say that. Yes, I am biased. I was 18 at the time, and I cried when he hit that home run over Fenway. So, yes, I am biased. But again, we need Mookie back. We need those 2018 times back in Boston, without a doubt. And hopefully one of these young guys on this Boston Red Sox team that's going to get called up next year, if not already on the 40-man roster, are going to be able to make the difference for this Boston Red Sox team. Because right now, it seems like Sam Kennedy and the rest of the organization are under a lot of fire and scrutiny. So I'm going to play that 30-second clip so you can hear the demeanor and the tone of Sam Kennedy when addressing the press conference. So here you go.
Is that our fans have been through a lot. They've been patient, and it's time to get back where we belong. We thought we had a good shot at getting there this year, but it's time to get back and go for that division title, play baseball in the postseason. That's why we're here. That's literally why the three of us are here. There's nothing like October baseball, and that's our responsibility and our obligation.
So it's your obligation. He just feels, I don't want to say he's trying to sell anything to the public and the rest of his co-workers, if you will, people up in the top of the Boston Red Sox organization, whether they be presidents, general managers, or whatever it may be. But again, we have to see some moves made by Sam Kennedy in order to really get behind this and believe him. And I just can't wait to see it happen. I think it all starts with the pitching staff, and when it comes down to it, I think it needs to be the biggest move made for this Boston Red Sox team, going out, mixing up the starting rotation, as well as getting a little bit more firepower coming out of the bullpen. And again, I can't wait to see how this all plays out. Hopefully to see a lot of those youngsters get a lot of opportunity going into next season. But again, we will see. It's going to be a long off season for this Boston Red Sox team, and I will bring you all the updates throughout the time. So thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one.